Hello, I'm Todd Collins, joined by my partner, Kate Monroe, CEO of VetCom and former Marine. Hello, Kate.
Glad to be here. Hello.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, a lot of people out there want to know, let's just get right into it. Who is Kate Monroe and why did you build VetCom? So why don't we just go ahead and start with telling us a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about me?
A little bit.
Where to start? You know, I grew up in Northern California in Redding, little bitty town, maybe never heard of it. I had a beautiful little childhood, went away to college, and then quickly made the decision actually to go into the Marine Corps. Now, typically when I tell people that, they're like, are you nuts? What were you thinking?
Something changed a little bit.
Something changed. But I really needed that challenge. And so in the Marines, I got a few injuries, believe it or not. I actually smashed my face in an accident and lacerated it.
Really?
72 hours of surgery later.
Well, you couldn't tell by looking at you now.
I appreciate that. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day.
Put a pin in that one for later.
Put a pin in that, circle back. But you know, since then, I've had a lot of really good successes. I've been an industry leader, an entrepreneur. I've had a very good career because I think the Marines set me up for that success in a way, because if I go to meet with people or I go to an interview or a business meeting and I quickly mention, oh, by the way, I was in the Marine Corps, whatever they thought about me moments before that, they no longer think that, and they're intrigued, and I'm going to get their attention. And I've been able to leverage that. I've had a very good career.
Nice.
Yeah.
You touched on a little bit that you are an entrepreneur. You've had your hand a little bit in some businesses here and there after the Marine Corps. The latest and greatest, and I know the one that you are most excited about right now, is VetCom.
100%.
So why VetCom? Why did you build it?
Why VetCom? You know, being a veteran myself, I have a heart for veterans. And I think the idea to build VetCom was born of a single incident or event, if you will. I was helping a friend of mine get his rating done. And as I was helping him, and I'm a very busy lady, I own multiple different companies, it does take some time to set aside to get someone rated.
Sure.
So I thought, what if I had the time to rate one person a day?
And this was somebody that tried to do it on their own and couldn't do it successfully, or you kind of jumped in?
Correct, and I got in there and helped them get it done, but I just thought, how many people can Kate help by herself? And the answer that I always kept circling back to was not enough. And so that's where the idea for VetCom came in.
So in short, if I'm hearing you correctly, you built VetCom because you wanted to reach and help more veterans.
100%. You know, our goal actually this year, believe it or not, is to reach 1 million.
1 million.
1 million veterans, you heard me correctly.
In 12 months.
In a 12-month period. Because, with everyone's help, if we all step up together and we get the word out, that's what we really need to be doing. If we get the word out about how easy it can be, how they do deserve it, and we make it simple, there is really no barrier to getting a minimum of 1 million vets in the system.
I want to go back and touch on some words that you just said, that they do deserve it.
Yeah.
And I know, and I'm sure you know, we talk to a lot of veterans around the country, and the number one reason why veterans actually don't go ahead and get themselves rated is because they feel as though they don't deserve it, or another veteran out there has a worse story and they need it more, and they never make that step forward because of that feeling, somebody else needs it more, I don't deserve it. Why do you think that so many veterans out there feel that way and it stops them from getting the rating?
You know, it's in interviewing a couple hundred vets when putting together this project, 9 out of 10 said that the number one reason that they had not got rated because they didn't deserve it.
Yeah, don't deserve it.
And I kind of thought back to, because I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, I wasn't one of those hero Marines. I wasn't in combat, so who am I to
No
take
Purple
away?
Hearts.
No Purple Heart for me, no. Even though I smashed my face, right? So I think I thought back to my childhood. Do you remember as a kid, your parents saying when they wanted to guilt you into eating your food, they would say, hey, there's starving kids in Africa, and if you don't eat your meal, this poor
It's
child,
the vegetables, always the vegetables.
Always the vegetables, always the asparagus, right? And I used to think, how do those two things even correlate, that mentality? But I think that kind of got into our psyche, and we think, who am I to take something from a more deserving person, and that more deserving person is my counterpart, brother or sister veteran, that I think served in a bigger or better way than I did. And I thought that, like most do, for a very long time.
And you've come to find that that's not necessarily the truth.
Yeah, the math just doesn't
There's
work out
enough
that way.
vegetables to go on everybody's plate.
There's enough vegetables for everyone. And you know what the truth is? There's actually a misconception where if you don't get rated and you leave that money for a more deserving veteran, that somehow there's only so much money to give. What actually happens by all of us not getting rated, the budget starts to shrink. So you're not helping future generations by you not going to get what you deserve.
That makes complete sense. So you, in fact, are rated.
Correct.
What was the process like for you to get rated?
You know, I got rated and then consecutively got re-rated. I waited 10 years because, as we discussed, I kind of had that whole guilty, don't feel like I deserve it. But I was convinced by someone that I did, in fact, deserve it. And the first time was more laborious than it is now. And a lot of vets have actually faced that. They went to try it once upon a time and it was hard, not successfully. Yeah. So I went and got my medical record. And by the way, it takes still, if you ever receive it, it takes a year. And then you get it. In my case, it was a giant stack of paper. And then you think, okay, great.
It's a little intimidating when you see that big stack.
It's intimidating. And then you think, who do I have to go see? Does it have to be perfect? What if, and you kind of get scared.
What if I missed dotting an I, crossing a T?
Correct, and you have this perception it has to be perfect, so then it takes you longer than really that it should. Yeah. But when I went to go get re-rated, the e-benefit system existed. It was a lot different opportunity than it was back in the day. It was much easier the second time. Still hard to navigate by design, I think.
Sure, yeah.
But definitely easier.
But life-changing?
Oh, yeah.
And life-changing for so many veterans out there.
For so many. You know, for me, you said life-changing. You know, one of the things that happened to me actually was a personal trauma. We'll call that MST. You know, I got assaulted. And I waited actually 18 years to be rated for that particular thing because, like so many, you have there's a certain stigma around it. And you don't want to get rated. But what happened for me is when I did that, I got a lot of closure. And that's what a lot of vets say, that aside from the money you get, there's a lot of closure that can come with certain things that you claim, an acknowledgement of what happened.
So certainly the closure is important. The money is also important because it really does help to change families' lives for the better day after day. And so I'm sure there's a lot of veterans out there right now watching. There's probably spouses watching as well. And they're curious, I mean, how much money are we talking about that maybe the average veteran can expect to receive once they're rated?
So it's said that 50% is the average rating. And 50%, if you don't have dependents and you don't have children, you know, you're just a single person, is roughly in the neighborhood of $1,000. So that's $1,000 per month.
Per month.
Forever.
$12,000 a year.
$12,000 a year. And I mean, for me, so I got more than 50%, but let's say that I waited that 10 years that I said. Well, bye-bye $120,000. What do you think? Do you think the government did some amazing thing with that 120 grand?
They didn't pay you retro.
They did not. No, no. And so it's like I already wasted 10 years, and I just want to tell other vets: don't waste another 10 years. Don't waste another 10 minutes. Do it now.
Get it now.
Go grab that money. It's like the other day I saw a commercial where somebody was standing in one of those money machines where the money's blowing all around you, and it's like, go get in the money machine and grab all that's yours because you deserve it.
Absolutely. So let's wrap it up here, Kate. The viewers out there, the ones watching right now, what is one message that you would like to leave those viewers after watching this video?
One message, you know, I kind of got to think, if you say that you really care about veterans, which we all say that we care about vets, right? And we say that by saying, hey, thanks for your service. Like, that's just the bare minimum. I actually hate when people say, thanks for your service, and then they just carry on. If you actually care about vets, what you can do is help VetCom get the word out. Because what we can all do is put money in the pockets of millions and millions of people that, quite frankly, are approaching retirement, about to live on Social Security, and we can change their lives. So what you can do actually doesn't cost you a darn thing, but a little bit of your time. I mean, right? So that would be the message. Yeah.
Partner with us at VetCom. What we need costs you nothing, like Kate said, but a moment of your time.
Will you join us?